Hey my friends, it's a special Halloween edition of Old School Rules, and today's video is going to take a look at the top 10 Dungeons & Dragons Undead Monsters. Please stick around. I'm AZ Mountaineer, and today we've got a special edition of Old School Rules, celebrating Halloween. What could be more fitting than counting down our top 10 favorite undead monsters from Dungeons & Dragons? Turn your lights up high, lock your doors, and get someplace safe, because we're going to talk about some of the scariest and deadliest monsters your players could ever face. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you're having a great week, and happy Halloween, everybody. Today we're counting down, as I said, the top 10 undead monsters in Dungeons & Dragons. For me, this is one of the classic groups of monsters. Most of us have had many encounters with the undead creatures, and some of them probably very, very memorable. So today I thought it would be fun to count those down in celebration of Halloween. Let me tell you a little bit about how I made my list. They had to be identified in the book as undead, especially when you get to the Fiend Folio and Monster Manual 2. Some of these things that you might think are undead, they say are not. And then one of the ways I judge that is whether or not they can be turned, because there's some really great undead monsters, or seem like undead monsters, but they say you can't turn them, so I struck those from the list, because to me that's one of the classic parts of the undead confrontation, is your cleric has that opportunity to turn them away. They have to be from the TSR core books, so Monster Manual, Fiend Folio, or Monster Manual 2, and had to be part of excellent adventures. I have to have good memories, whether as a dungeon master or player, and think that probably lots of other people do as well. So those are my criteria. And now we're going to count down the top 10 undead monsters in Dungeons & Dragons. Number 10 is the zombie. Become quite popular lately on TV shows and movies, but for me the zombie still comes in at number 10. It's a classic. It's the second weakest undead monster in the game. 2 hit dice, 1 to 8 damage. They always go last because they're so slow. The Monster Manual 2 adds 2 new types of zombies, the Juju zombie and the monster zombie. I do like the idea of taking monsters and making them into undead. I think that's a really good idea. Number 9, the Spectre. The Spectre is a fairly powerful undead monster. 7 plus hit dice. Its attack hit drains 2 levels, so that's pretty powerful, and of course has a lot of the typical defensive protections that undead do. For me, this creature hardly ever, maybe never, gets used in a dungeon. Maybe because this drawing, I think it's Sutherland, not particularly scary. I think if the Spectre looked more like Errol Otis's drawing from the Expert box set, you know, back in the Mold Bay Cook days, maybe the Spectre would be a little more popular in campaigns. Number 8 on our list is the Ghoul. Classic early level undead monster. Tougher than zombies for sure, and they had this, the first type you tend to face as a lower level character that had this paralyzing touch, right? And only elves were immune, so elves always have to sort of run to the front and fight in melee combat when ghouls are around, because that paralyzing touch for early level characters who still have difficulty making saving throws can be really difficult to overcome, and can change sort of the tide of battle. This is the cover by Jeff D. when they re-released The Village of Hamlet. I'm pretty sure these are ghouls, not zombies. In particular, that one, look how much action, right? And zombies just don't seem like they can ever get sort of build up that much momentum and speed. Number 7 on our list is the classic, the skeleton, the introductory first level undead sort of opponent. They are exactly what they sound like. Nonetheless, skeletons can show up in pretty significant numbers and can be a pretty tough encounter. You know, they're immune to charm and sleep, which are some of the most common magic user spells to use at first level that are typically really good choices, but against the skeletons, you know, they don't have any effect. one hit dice. And of course, the other thing about the skeletons is most people attacking with spears or swords, those type of weapons only do half damage. So the cleric can really shine, because not only can your cleric try to turn the skeletons, but their blunt weapon, whether it's a mace or whatever else they're using, does full damage against the skeletons. So they're ideally suited to attack them, right? And here's a great drawing from the Tomb of Horrors. This is a trap where a skeleton comes flying out of a chest. And if you think skeletons are not that fearsome, take a look at Diesel's drawing from the Dungeon Master's Guide, right? I mean, this guy on the left clearly does not see the skeleton as a sort of forgettable encounter. In fact, he's scared out of his mind trying to get out of here before the skeleton sneaks up behind him and stabs him in the back. Number 6 on our list comes to us from the Fiend Folio. This is the Eye of Fear and Flame, and it's skeletal. It wears ragged cloak like for dress, but it has, each of its eyes have a different effect. So one of them obviously is constantly projecting fear, like the wand, and the other one can shoot a 12 die fireball every 3 melee rounds. 12 hit dice and an armor class of 2. This is a really fearsome opponent, and the only reason it ranks so low is because these are not, like most things in the Fiend Folio, not particularly common in most campaigns. I'm quite partial to Eye of Fear and Flame because it was in a fanzine, and I do these fanzine videos most Fridays, and in Underworld Oracle number 2, and I'll put a link up here, they have new monsters, and the Eye of Fear and Flame makes its first appearance there in that fanzine, and then later shows up in the Fiend Folio. Number 5 on the list is a very classic monster, and that is the Ghost. The Ghost is, as you know, is incorporeal, so very difficult to attack successfully. The Ghost can have armor class of 0, 10 hit dice, and these spirits of evil humans continue to do great damage today. They're one of the many undead that a lot of characters are afraid of. When the Ghost hits you, it ages your character 10 years and can cause fear and cause your character to flee. It says clerics above 6th level are immune to this effect, and other humans above 8th level get a +2 on their saving throw. But still, for elves, not that big a opponent. 10 years on an elf's life, not so much. But for a human, that's a really big deal. And so, again, another one of these undead monsters that lots of characters sort of were afraid of whenever they showed up. Number 4 is the Mummy. The Mummy is a great undead monster. Between the rotting disease that he has and the fact that he's just a really tough monster to defeat, the Mummy is certainly one of the more fearsome undead you can face. He gets 6 hit dice. Does a lot of damage, 1 to 12, because he's so strong, and then again, as I said, it gives you that sort of mummy rot disease if he hits you that can be eventually fatal. So, the sight of a mummy can cause fear if you fail your saving throw, and they can only be hit by magical weapons. Mummies are really tough, sort of mid-level undead monster, and just a classic from this Halloween season. Number 3 on my list is the Wight. So the Wight is a pretty fearsome mid-level undead monster, one that most characters are afraid of because they don't age you, they drain a level. Just 1, where the Spectre takes 2, but for whatever reason the Wight seem to be a much more common opponent for me, and it's an undead that I think of a lot, and frankly most of my characters didn't want to get anywhere near, because elves don't have any special protection here, clerics don't have any special protection, etc. And so most characters attack at a distance or consider running away when they're faced by these guys. And like most undead, can't be charmed, can't be put to sleep, can't be affected by hold spells either. And so they can be pretty fearsome opponents. Now we're getting down to the very end, and you probably can figure out what undead monsters I have left. Number 2 is the classic, the Lich. The Lich is, without a doubt, extremely powerful and deadly, and most characters would run away if they ever saw a Lich, as well they should. If played correctly, a Lich can take out a lot of parties, right? 0 armor class, 11 plus hit dice. They have magic user spells, which that in of itself makes them very powerful. They're very intelligent, so they're not going to be by themselves. At least I would not expect them to be in a well-run campaign. They're going to be surrounded by other denizens, lower-level undead, somebody who's up in front protecting, taking the brunt of the hits from the fighter while the Lich casts spells or uses magic items that it's collected, right? Because these are powerful magic users that have tried to extend their life indefinitely here. Get out of the way. Now this is my favorite. I don't know that this is Lich. This is an Errol Otis drawing from the Dungeon Master's Guide, but I assume it is because it has the ability to reflect back the magic. But anyway, that's just a fun one. And of course, here is Jeff D's drawing when they re-released Tomb of Horrors, right? What a fantastic drawing. And of course, we all know the Lich is one of the big bad guys at the end of that campaign. And so without a doubt, you guys should know what the #1 on my list is going to be, and that's the vampire. Super powerful, super deadly, super intelligent. Once again, here is an undead creature that's going to not face you by himself. He's 8 hit dice, 1 armor class, but he's going to be surrounded by other defenders who are going to fight for him. He's going to charm the party, attack from a distance, pick you off one by one, and perhaps turn you to an undead as well. For me, the best drawing of the vampire is probably this one from Bill Willingham, which is in the Expert box set, Mold Lake Cook box set again. And then, of course, we all know the Ravenloft series, which, I mean, man, that just captured people's imaginations, right, and created a whole series of books and lore and realm for Dungeons and Dragons adventures. And then here's a drawing of Willingham's from the back of one of the Slaver modules. So that's it for my Halloween special look at the top 10 undead monsters from Dungeons and Dragons. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you're subscribed, and if you got some friends who would like our content, please send them our way. Maybe they can be subscribers as well. Have a great Halloween, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week, and until next time, keep rolling 20s.